Charles is right. 90% down is the volatility price we pay for those 5, 10x gains. That's right. Having low volatility is typically very bad. You want volatility because that allows very great price appreciation, which makes you very wealthy. Buying coins, holding them for a good amount of time is how you get wealthy, and selling them for a decent price. Now, we've all heard these stories of like buying real estate, or like, oh yeah, my grandma, my grandpa, they bought this house for $80,000 back in the day, and now it's worth 2, $3 million 40, 50 years later. How did they get rich? By buying and holding great assets over time that appreciate, that people want, right? If this crypto thing survives for the next 10, 20 years, if Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Hex stay around, these tokens will be worth a lot of money. We're talking one day Bitcoin reaching $1 million. We could be talking about $100,000 Ethereum price. We could be talking a like $25 maybe Hex price. Maybe it's just chilling out at like $4 or $5, and we're just mad at life because it just doesn't pump anymore, right? And it is this kind of thing. It is, I mean, then that is also human nature as well, is that when it happens to you the first time, you're like, wow, this is incredible. But once it's been there for a bit of a time, you want bigger. It's a kick. It's a kick. A lot of people in the crypto space are addicted to sort of gambling, whether they think so or not. And it's just kind of dopamine hit that they want another hit. They want to chase the dragon. The dragon is that next all-time high when that coin just goes bananas. But it does serve us well, because then from there you end up having this thing where like people, like the coin's 5x, and the people are like, yeah, so what? It needs to go higher. So I've just so right now, after explaining all that stuff, a lot of guys are like, fuck yeah, man, I'm gonna stake my Hex. I'm gonna stake it all now. Here's some wisdoms, right? In the Hex community, I am Hex Jesus, right? And I will try to explain to you sort of these rules of thumb that you should sort of follow, especially starting off. Now, I will change them from every year, because every year is a little bit different in terms of when you get in, right? So this is the rules for 2023. Next year I'll have the rules for 24, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, where are we right now in the crypto space? We are at the bottom, close to the bottom, or just out of the bottom. But either way, down bad. Now, us in the Hex community, we're up 3 times from the low. On some other altcoins, we're up 2 times, 3 times, 5 times. So for the true believers of Hex, Ethereum, cryptocurrency space, congratulations, you guys. I think we made it past the worst part of the market, and yeah, we're out here, man. So while most of the market's down bad, we've actually on some of our capital that we put in recently, we're up on our capital, and we're starting to get back into profitability, while the rest of the market is severely down bad for the year. Now, pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. So let me give you rule number 1. Thou shalt not stake Hex until you have 100K Hex. Now, why am I saying this? Now, these rules will change from year to year. It'll be much different, because what'll happen is 100K Hex today is $6,000. A month ago is 2 Gs. So price moves very quickly. Now, the reason I'm saying this for someone brand new is because of the thing. So obviously, I'll never discourage someone from not buying Hex, of course. Like if you want to buy Hex, get into the coin performs very, very well. But staking does have parameters, and there's rules, and there's also because of limitations of being built on Ethereum. Okay? So rule 1, no staking Hex until you have 100,000 Hex. And why is that? Because that puts you in a position where then you can make much more clearer, bigger moves and larger stakes in Hex without because what happens is typically someone buys let's just say if someone bought like $1,000 of Hex today, it would be a decent amount of Hex. And then what'll happen is they'll just make one stake, and they'll have most of their. And what ends up happening is that they'll end up either staking out too long, or take their Hex out of their position, and they end up having much less Hex. And then as the price runs away from them and stuff, they're kind of in this sort of jangled position where they don't really have much of a plan. It's just like they have 1 or 2 stakes, and then that's it. Now, two on the number on that point about 100K hex is I want Pulse Chain is around the 2 more weeks, you guys. I know the joke about Pulse Chain, but legitimately, this bitch is coming out under a year. Worst case, it's coming out under a year. Okay. I want to put a person brand new into the hex space into the most optimal position where they will be able to then go into that ecosystem. Since they care so much about hex, right? They'll be able to use some of their coins to be able to get P hex, Pulse Chain, PulseX, build themselves up a ladder with P hex, and this whole other ecosystem and stuff, and then with a value they've created from holding one token. And that's right. I have the barber come to me. The more you know. Now, that 100K hex is a really, so let me put it on the screen real quick. Now you guys got to remember, like, prices change and stuff all the time. So, like, what's a lot of money now ain't shit yes tomorrow, right? On something like hex, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? $6,311 is what 100K hex is. I think that is a very decent bag right there for someone starting off in hex. They should try to get to that bag. I for the most part, I don't like round numbers, but if you're gonna shoot for something, I think that's a good starting point. Some people have like 1 million hex, some people have 300,000, some have 10 million. But I think for a person starting off, I think that's a good stretch goal, is to get to that liquid amount. So there's liquid hex, staked hex. What staked hex means? I staked it for between 1 to 15 years. Liquid is it's unstaked, virgin hex. It's in my wallet, sitting. I can sell it at any point. I can do whatever I want with it. I can just leave it there. I can forget about it. Yeah, you guys, the questions. I'll answer your question later on, but like, please save like some of your super chats for the end of the stream and stuff, or like send them in, and then I'll make sure and read them before the end of the stream. Don't worry. But I think this right now is a great price. Worst case scenario for what's going on in the hex community right now. Hex is probably not going under 5 cents, and we're in the short term, in the next 2 months, with the V3 coming out and the hinting of projects. You have eFiat. You've got a lot of things kind of going on in the space right now. We're kind of looking between a 5 to about 8 cent range for this next month or two, with a high with it. So I'm talking about where like anyone can DCA into it. It's calm. Like, I'll wake up tomorrow, it'll still be at that price, with a high of about maybe 12 cents.